Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Johns Hopkins School of Education Master of Science in Education, International Teaching and Global Leadership, also known as ITGL virtual webinar. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Also presenting today, I have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, and she will introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanya McMillan. I am an admissions coordinator here at the School of Education. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tanya. Also presenting today, we have Program Director, Dr. Richard Weisenhoff, and Program Administrator, Ms. Betsy Mayotte.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Also, please take a second to see if your mic is on mute and video is off right now. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please type your question in the chat box and we will read and answer your questions. Next, I would like to cover the agenda for today's presentation. We will kick off the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Weisenhoff and Ms. Mayotte will go over details of the ITGL program. Lastly, we'll cover admissions requirements, financial aid, and leave the floor open for questions at the end. And to start, we are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. And for school enrollment, we have approximately 2,367 students and offer 27 graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. And we also have a strong network of over 22,000 SOE alums. Moving on to faculty introduction. Dr. Weisenhoff is the faculty lead for the ITGL program. He received his Doctor of Education from the University of Maryland, College Park. His research focus is using technology to deliver personalized learning. And lastly, Dr. Weisenhoff's prior experience includes being the Executive Director of Academics for the Baltimore County Public Schools. Moving on to Ms. Betsy Mayotte. Ms. Mayotte is the Program Administrator for the ITGL program. Her prior experience includes being the Associate Dean at the School of Education, Vice President at Thompson Prometric, Director of the School of Education, and Director of Development at Stevenson College.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Weisenhoff. It's my pleasure to be able to discuss the program a little bit and give you some details. Hopefully that will answer all of your questions. And as Jan said, at the end of the presentation, we'll have a question and answer time. So I'd like to start out with just sharing a couple of important points regarding what our program objective is here at ITGL. ITGL is the International Teaching and Global Leadership Cohort. So we're looking at 2 parts there, the international teaching. So our focus is not teaching what we do here just in the United States, but what we do around the world in the education field. And we have a real focus on leadership. We are a cohort program, and that has some special features that make things a little bit easier for our students. Our intent is to pair international educators. We want them to be innovative education leaders when they leave our program. The focus is that they're going to go back to their home countries, and they're going to begin transforming schools, systems, and other learning environments. And I'll talk about the way we have our courses developed, but you need to know that we've got core courses and focus area courses. And those coupled together give all of our students a foundation of theory, educational theory, as well as giving them an opportunity to do some practice while they're here in the 3 semesters. So of course, the question we want to answer for you is, why would you come to Johns Hopkins School of Education to pursue an ITGL program? We've listed some features, and I'll reiterate these features as we move on to other slides within this presentation. But just to pick out some of the salient points, I'm going to start at the top and work my way around clockwise. Our program is 33 credits, except if you're in the TEFL area, and that's 35 credits. We complete the program in 1 year. Many schools have master's programs, but they last 18 months to 2 years. Our program is finished in 1 year. And all of our courses, and this is important for you all to know, all of our courses are face-to-face courses. We do not do remote learning. All of our classes are in a classroom with the faculty member teaching in the classroom. If you're interested in becoming a leader in your field, then this program is for you. We really do. We have courses on leadership that we require our students to take. And in every course, we really do emphasize, if you're the leader in the particular area that we're discussing, what aspects do you need to be concerned about? We have a cultural transition person who helps provide support. We know that you're coming from different countries, that many of you have not been in this country before, and we want to ease that transition into being in the United States as easy as possible. In order for that to happen, we've got support available for you to take care of any uncomfortableness you have when you enter a new society. We do focus on theory and on practice. In the classroom, you'll hear the latest research theories that are available and how they're being implemented across the United States. And then we give you an opportunity to go and observe and see what is happening in our classroom, what is happening in our businesses, what is happening in our universities through our extended learning and other opportunities that we have for all of our students. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say you'd be working with the JHU faculty. We do have adjunct faculty, and we're very selective with picking adjunct faculty who are working in the field, and they share their expertise when they come to teach. In addition, our faculty at Johns Hopkins University are research-based individuals who are considered leaders in their particular fields. So who is the program ideal for? Well, first of all, it really is meant for early childhood through secondary education. That is our focus. While a lot of our students who have graduated, our alum, have actually ended up working in universities, their area of focus is on primary and secondary global education. We do spend time discussing cognitive learning theory. That is, those theories that really impact how people learn. What should we be doing in the classroom? In fact, if your focus area is digital age teaching and learning, the course that I teach in the program is on cognitive learning theory. It's called Technology and the Science of Learning, where we take a look at what the latest research says about how students learn and how the brain functions. And we are a research institution. That is a key component of what we do at Johns Hopkins University. And as such, we spend a good amount of time reviewing research and giving you the tools so that you can do your own research. So as I said, let's do a snapshot overview of the program. The program is 33 credits in length, as I said, except if you're interested in TEFL. If you are interested in the TEFL focus area, then it is 35 credits. The 2 additional credits are done hybrid, which means some of the instruction is done in the classroom and other parts of it are done online. That is the only time that we have online in the program. We are a face-to-face delivery system. All of our classes are done at the School of Education, although we have begun using other buildings on campus. We are located in Baltimore, and all of our classes are located at the School of Education, which is 2 blocks away from the beginning of campus. And as I said, we do have some classes that we do teach on campus. The current cohort has 159 students. And we're looking to increase that number with the new cohort that's coming in. And the program is completed in 3 semesters. You would come here for the fall semester, which begins at the end of August. You would take credits in the fall. You would take your credits in the spring. And then there would be 1 summer session that you would begin at the start of June. and you would finish it the third week of July. Upon the completion of the 3 semesters, you'll be awarded a Master of Science in Education. It will not say anywhere on there that it is an ITGL program, nor that will it say what your focus area it is. You will be awarded a Master of Science in Education. We're adding a new focus area this year. So what we have in front of you now is the list of what our focus areas are. I want to start by saying, and this is important because I get a question every time about this, you must select one focus area. While it may be appealing to you to go into take classes in 2 focus areas, we do require all of our students to select one. And that's because the way the courses are delivered. Because we're doing a 3-semester program, it's important that everybody take the same focus area classes at the same time. So it's impossible for you to double up and do 2 focus areas. So let's take a look at what those focus areas are. The first one is early childhood. That's for students who are interested in working in the early childhood area, which we define in this country, which is a little different if you're from China. We define it beginning usually at age 2 and working up through age 5. If that's your area of interest, then early childhood is for you. The digital age teaching and learning has become very, very popular. It always has been, but now especially so. The pandemic has created a real need for people with an expertise in remote learning. So our digital age teaching and learning is really talking about how we integrate technology into the instructional process. And as you can imagine, many of the projects and coursework that's going on now is looking at the different tools that are available digitally to assist that process. Our third area is creative and innovative education. That's for students who are looking to shake things up a bit, to take a look at what the current educational system is and how we can be more creative and more innovative in delivering education, delivering learning to the students. Many of the courses are focused on our gifted and talented area in this country. In fact, one of the first courses that you'll take is a course on creativity. And what does it mean to be creative? And in that program, you craft your own idea of what a creative or innovative educational program is. Last year, we added entrepreneur and education. And that's for those people who may not be interested in actually going into the classroom or working in a school, but who are thinking about working in the business of education, those business ventures that support our educational systems in each of the countries. We also have an interest in those who are entrepreneurs, people who want to have an entrepreneur spirit, but are staying within school systems or in schools and want to look for opportunities for different things within the education system. We call those entrepreneurs. The new program that we're going to be adding next year and that we're very excited about starting is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And our last focus area that you see there is one that we began this year. It is teaching English as a foreign language, or TEFL, for those folks who are looking to go back home and teach English in your home countries. So what are some of the advantages of the program? We begin with a specialized ITGL orientation as soon as you come to campus. So while the school academic year may begin the last week in August, the week prior to that, we have an orientation for all of our students to make sure that they're comfortable being here. We take tours at the campus, we discuss safety, because I know that is always a concern. It is a concern for me to make sure that all of our students are very safe. We talk about the different kinds of services that we have available to you. And then we also do some social events for our students through our partner, ACEE. We, as I said, during the course of the year, we have cultural exchange and enrichment activities where we'll take you to different areas, and it's done through ACEE, our partner, and they will take you, have different social events that you can participate in. And of course, all those events are usually done on Fridays or on the weekends, so they don't interfere with the academic calendar and the academic things. As I spoke initially about theory and practice, it's important for you to understand that the formal learning happens in the classroom, and that's where you do have the classroom instruction and all the activities that occur there. But we also know that there's lots of informal learning that occurs just being at Johns Hopkins on campus and in the area. So I really like the informal component of it. And we really emphasize with our students that they should partake in all of the events that Hopkins has to offer. There are concerts, there are lectures, there are sporting events, there are many, many things that are available in the Baltimore area. And all of those help lead for a well-rounded student and somebody when they leave our program, understanding what the formal learning is and what the informal learning is. And then for those students where English is not their native language, we do provide free language and tutoring support services. Right now, many of our students are applying for doctoral programs or for another master's program. And our support services are helping them with writing their application letters and essays that they need to do. But during the course of the semester, tutors are available to help with papers, with understanding the work that's going on in the classroom. All of them, for the most part, are former ITGL students. So how does it break down? How does the actual curriculum break down? As I said, there are 3 semesters. Next fall, 2022, you would come here and you would take 11 credits. There would be three credit courses, 1 2-credit seminar, and then a non-credit extended learning opportunity where you get to choose what kind of experience you'd like to have outside of the classroom. And you do that while you're not in class. In the spring, you would take 4 3-credit courses, 1 2-credit seminar, and 1 extended learning. And if you notice, it's 11 credits in the fall and then 14 credits in the spring. We're very intentional about doing that. When we first started the program, we had it divided evenly. And what we found is it takes a little while to understand the way Hopkins works, the way our courses work. So we cut back on the number of credits in the fall to give you an opportunity to get more acclimated and to feel more comfortable with it. And then in the summer, you take 8 credits because it is a shortened session and longer days. We only put in 2 3-credit courses, 1 2-credit seminar, and then the extended learning. During the time that you're here, the course is divided into 3 different types of courses. The first type of course are those courses that are required for anybody who's taking a Master of Science in Education. There are other programs where students are awarded a Master of Science in Education. And Johns Hopkins University has specific requirements for those courses. And there are 3 courses that you would take that satisfy the courses that anybody would have to take for the Master of Science in Education. You may find yourself in those courses with students from different focus areas. So the students are all mixed up together within that. Then we have courses that we've identified that we think all ITGL students need to take, and that's our ITGL core courses. Courses like Introduction to Entrepreneurship, Mind, Brain, and Teaching, where you focus on brain research, leadership kinds of courses. Those are the things, global analysis, those are the courses that you would take that every student in ITGL would take. And there are 4 of those courses that you would take during the time that you're here. And finally, there are the focus area courses. Each focus area has 3 required courses that you must take. They've identified within that focus area. You take 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring, and 1 in the summer. That's why you can't do more than 1 focus area because you won't be able to fit it within your schedule. And then if you're in TEFL, in addition to those 3 focus area courses, there are 2 additional 1-credit courses that you would take, 1 in the spring and 1 in the summer. All of this is laid out very, very nicely within our website. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that you should take a look at our website and really it'll delve a little deeper into it and take a look to see what the descriptions of the courses are, what they are, and you can find out a little bit about all of us and other different needs within that website. So please take advantage of going to that website. We always put this slide up because I think it's important for you to hear what some of our students are saying about ITGL. If you're on WeChat, I know that there are informal rooms where students discuss ITGL, and we listen very carefully to our students' voices. Every year we hear if there's a critique, and we'll try to fix it as fast as we possibly can. But we also hear extremely positive things. And this really focuses a little bit more on the positives. And I'll just give you a few minutes to read what our testimonials say here. Okay, next slide. And I'm going to turn it over now to admissions.
Thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff. So moving on, so we're going to go over the application requirements. The applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on our website. The application fee is $80. You will need a current resume or CV. Next, an essay must be uploaded. Please visit our website on the admissions webpage to learn more about the essay portion of the application. 2 letters of recommendation. If you're unable to have 1 academic letter of recommendation, we will accept 2 professional letters of recommendation. Next, we need all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. And lastly, the application process begins with a video screening administered by ACE Global. Applicants who complete the screening phase and meet the admissions criteria will be instructed by ACEE to submit an online application to the ITGL program. And for fall 2022 admission, applicants are encouraged to complete the application requirements as early as possible before the program reaches capacity. Application decisions are delivered to candidates on a rolling basis, typically 4 weeks after an application is submitted with all materials received. And the final application deadline is March 21, 2022. There are a few additional steps you take in order to complete the application process if you're an international student. For non-US citizens from countries where English is not the official language, you are required to submit a TOEFL or IELTS score, and hold a qualifying degrees or have earned credits from institutions outside the US, you must have academic records evaluated by an accredited independent credential evaluation agency before you can be considered for admissions to a degree program. And please note, it is the student's responsibility to provide the necessary paperwork and payment to an approved evaluation service and to request that an official copy of the report be sent to the Johns Hopkins School of Education Office of Admissions directly from the evaluation agency. And this slide applies to you if you're a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. If you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. Please visit our website if you have any questions relating to financial aid. And I will turn it to Ms. Mayotte.
Thank you, Sion. So I'm happy to have this, this moment to go over information about our tuition and fees for the ITGL program. I will mention as I begin here that all of this information is available on the ITGL website that Dr. Weisenhoff mentioned. It is absolutely essential that our applicants and our incoming students really understand the information that is on our website. And so this particular slide will go over the actual tuition and the fees. So the tuition for the full program, the 33 credit program, is $50,400. Students who are in the TEFL focus area, who are taking the 2 additional credits that Dr. Weisenhoff mentioned, the tuition for the TEFL focus area is $53,400 because it includes 2 additional credits. All students, upon acceptance of our offer of admission, are required to pay a non-refundable tuition deposit of $3,000. So that is a part of the tuition, and it is applied to your tuition. We also, all international students in the ITGL program, because you're full-time students, are required to purchase JHU insurance. And we always estimate the cost of that insurance, and that is included in the mandatory costs that all students pay before they begin the program. There's also a technology fee of $1,500. And of course, the application fee you would pay upon submitting your application to us. So the total mandatory expenses you can see right here on the slide would add up to $55,980. Or for the TEFL focus area, there would be an additional $3,000. We can go on to the next slide. Thank you. There's quite a bit of information on the slide you're looking at right now. This slide and the following slide will present information about services that are available for students who wish to purchase them. So in other words, these would be additional services that students have a choice whether or not they would like to purchase them. So ACE, our partner, provides two optional services. One is housing, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. The information is on this slide. And the other optional service is career coaching, and I'll talk about that next. So let me say a few words about ACE housing services. I think the most important thing to say about housing for graduate students at Johns Hopkins University is that graduate students are really on their own to find their own housing when they come to Johns Hopkins University. And by that, I mean all Johns Hopkins graduate students. So because we know our ITGL students, most of them are coming from other countries, we decided to try to make it a little bit easier for you to find housing. And so if you wish, you can choose to purchase housing through ACE. What that means is that you would pay for your housing before you come. You would pay for your housing for the entire year. And what you would get for your housing is a fully furnished apartment. There are many different types of apartments, and you can see all the information about the housing on our cohort site. We're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of our presentation. The housing is fully furnished, so when you arrive, you don't have to run around and find linens or kitchen utensils or anything like that. Everything is provided for you. All of the utilities in your housing are included in the cost of the housing. The housing that ACE provides is within really easy walking distance to the university. It's almost across the street from the library where many of our students spend time. And as you see, there's a very long list of what we call amenities that are included with the housing. And I won't read through all of them, but I think it's important for you to know that we have many, many of our current students and in past years who are taking advantage of this housing and really appreciate the ease and the convenience of having this housing provided for them. And we can go on to the next slide then. I mentioned that there are two areas of service that ACE provides for our ITGL students who are interested. And again, these are choices. It's not anything that you are required to purchase, but it's available to you if you are interested. The first one I just talked about was housing. And then this area of service is what we call career services. And what this means is that students who come into the ITGL program, we know that many, many of our students are coming to our program because they are looking to be engaged. As Dr. Weisenhoff said at the very beginning, we're looking to prepare students to go back to their home environments and really become involved in education. Some, as Dr. Weisenhoff said, go on to pursue a doctoral program. But many of our graduates are really looking to work. And so the career services package really helps those students to look at an assessment of where they are, what kind of coaching would help as they are looking to prepare themselves for that first job after they finish their graduate program. So you can see on this slide, there are many, many different aspects to the career services package that would be available to you for an additional cost. The career services cost is an additional $6,000. Excuse me. And I did not mention the cost of the housing. You can find that on our website, and it really varies depending on the type of housing that you select. We can move on to the next slide. Now, this slide is what we call our next steps slide. This slide is available on our cohort site, and it's a slide that we felt it was really important for us to put together for our students once they are offered admission and accept our offer of admission. So this would be a little bit down the road for you, but we wanted to make sure that all of our ITGL students understand when they're looking at the program and they're considering, do I want to apply to this program? What's involved for me in the application process? What's involved for me after I accept the offer? And so we wanted to make sure that we made very, very clear the steps that are involved once you would accept an offer of admission. Of course, I won't go into a lot of detail here, but one of the important aspects of this slide that we wanted to share with you is that there is a whole team of us that's available to help you as you move through the process. Dr. Weisenhoff talked about the program, talked about the classes, talked about our faculty. For all the other aspects of your life as a student at Johns Hopkins University, there are many of us who are here to help provide support to you in terms of helping to accept your offer, in terms of the I-20 process. Johns Hopkins has a whole office of international services that is available to our students throughout their time as a student and even into the OPT process. We partner with ACE for housing and career coaching, as I said just a moment ago, and they can help you when you're trying to make a decision. Am I interested in those services? So we can help you think through that process. Our applicants, once they accept an offer and pay their deposit and make a decision about housing, we require that you would sign an acknowledgement form. And what that does is it tells us that you understand your responsibilities as an ITGL student. So we try to make it very, very clear what is involved and to help you through that process. Of course, any student at Johns Hopkins University will be using the JHU email, which is really critical because that's how we communicate with you once you are an accepted student. Our ITGL program utilizes a digital portfolio, and you learn about that as you get involved in the program. And one really important part of our program, one important aspect of the ITGL program relates to the fact that we are a one-year program. In other words, our students begin and end the program within one academic year. Because we are an accelerated program, we require payment of the total amount due before you begin classes. For the academic year that begins in fall of 2022, the total amount due is, the deadline for payment is May 27, 2022. And then that is required before registration for classes begin. So again, this slide has quite a bit of detailed information on it. We don't expect you to remember all of this right now, but this is always available for you to look at once you are offered admission and you accept your offer of admission. And again, we are all here to help you through these steps.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mayotte, for sharing that. So thank you for attending today's virtual webinar. At this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions. You see the very first question we have from Nemo is the GRE needed? The GRE is not a requirement for the ITGL program. The next question we have is, according to your experience, after meeting the GPA and test requirements, what is the acceptance rate of the ITGL program? And Ms. Mayotte or Dr. Weisenhoff, you want to take this question?
Yeah, let me take a stab at this. So, we have a holistic approach when we're deciding on specific students. So when you have your screening, your initial interview with ACE, it's recorded, and we look at the questions and how you've answered the questions. We take a look at your essay because that tells us a little bit more about you and why you've chosen to join us. We take a look at your transcript to make sure that it's one of, although the minimum requirement is 3.0 GPA, we also are taking a look to see, trends, how you've done on it. And we do have a rolling admissions, which means we look at each student as the application comes in and make a decision right away. I would say that as long as students understand what the requirements are and they're applying, having met those requirements, then our admissions rate is very high. I would say in the 90%. The students who we do not accept typically apply with a low TEFL or IELTS score or with a low GPA, with the assumption that maybe we'll take a look at them. But we're pretty stringent about trying to follow the requirements that the university has set up.
Thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff. Next question we have is, let me just scroll up a little bit. Should we choose the focus area before entering the class?
Yes, you are required to select your focus area. And the reason is your registration is contingent upon which focus area you're selecting. So you're going to register for a course in a specific focus area. So if you haven't selected it, then you won't know which focus area which courses to register for. So you must do that. There is a deadline as to when you have to. We do allow students to switch focus areas prior to the start of the program. This question always comes up. They come here and they want to change after they've started the program. That's not allowed. And there is a deadline as to when you can, what's the last possible day as to when you can pick your focus area.
I wonder if I might add something.
Please.
Yes, because as Dr. Weisenhoff said, this is a question that we come across frequently. If you remember, I mentioned that all of our accepted students are required to sign an acknowledgement form that explains their understanding of the program. All of our students are required to include the focus area on that acknowledgement form. So in other words, when you sign the acknowledgement form and return it to us, you are confirming your focus area at that time. And it is not possible to change after that without permission of the faculty advisor. And that's because of what Dr. Weisenhoff said a moment ago. It really relates to the whole registration process.
Thank you, Ms. Mayotte. Next question that we have is, if I get an offer to the program, is there a deadline that I have to make my decision by? And for that question, from the admissions perspective, we do recommend you accepting your offer as soon as possible, simply because I'm sure Ms. Mayotte will attest to this, the program does fill up rather quickly. And so the sooner you accept your offer of admission, you will be, it would be better for everyone all around. I believe on your letter of admission, you're given about 2 weeks to accept. So I'm not sure if you have anything to add to that, Ms. Mayotte.
Yes, I would like to add a few words to that, and maybe Dr. Weisenhoff as well. So yes, as Sion said, we do ask that you accept the offer within the 2 weeks that the admissions office mentions in the offer of admission. Once you accept the offer of admission, then we ask that you make decisions about your housing and whether or not you're going to choose optional services. Once you make those decisions, we ask that you sign the acknowledgement form. So there are, each step of the way, there are expectations of your response time. And of course, the payment of the total amount due is the final deadline. So each step of the way, it's important that you pay attention to what we say in terms of response time. So starting from the beginning, just to repeat, we do ask that you make your acceptance within 2 weeks of the offer.
Thank you. Next question we have is, I would like to ask about teacher and student proportion. For example, a supervisor will supervise how many students?
So this is a big, it depends. And the reason I'm saying that is because each focus area has an advisor assigned to them. So if there are a lot of students in a specific focus area, then that's how many students will be the advisor. We do not have more than 45 students to one advisor. In the classroom itself, I strive very hard. I develop the schedule and decide how many sections we're going to have of classes. I really strive very hard to keep our numbers as low as possible. Right now, we're running about 24 students per class on average. We have some classes where we have 13 students in a class, and a couple of classes where we have 27 students in the class. And in those classes, we provide a teaching assistant to provide greater interaction with the students. But we never go over that.
Thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff. Next question that we have, please kindly tell me again, what's the GPA requirement? I missed the point at the beginning due to internet issues.
Not a problem. It's 3.0 GPA.
Thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff. The next question we have is, amongst the students who are applying, is it more common to join right after an undergrad program or after a few years of work? Who does the program serve better? Is it hard to get acceptance if you don't have work experience?
So we do not look for experience when we're looking at admissions into the program, and we have a wide variety of age groups. I would say, though, most of our students are coming to us right after graduating from their undergraduate program. However, I've had students who are 40 years old. This year, we have one student who's 35. So I mean, there's a wide range of ages. But I will say, predominantly, we're looking at students who, if his past history is any indication, students who have finished their undergraduate work and want to continue on their studies right away.
Thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff. It looks like we have another question from the same student. Are there assistantships or fellowships provided? How do we apply if there are? Do we find out with the acceptance or once the year starts?
So we do not have any fellowships, nor do we have any grants that we provide for the students, unfortunately. Our students do find other work that they're interested in outside of ITGL on their own. But we don't sponsor anything. We're a graduate program. The School of Education is all graduate students. We don't really have an undergraduate component. So there's no opportunity to become a teaching assistant or a graduate assistant from within the program.
Next question we have, can I avail the ITGL program full-time online? The answer to that is no. The program is an in-person program on our Baltimore, Maryland campus. Next question, how many interviews in total if I have already finished the ACE screening interview?
If you finish the ACE screening interview, that is the only interview that you're going to take. However, we have, if the admissions committee decides that there are some questions they have about a particular student, we've been known to ask that student to join in for an interview with faculty. It's rare, but it does happen. It does happen once in a while where there's some question about what's written on the application or on the interview. So we will ask them to come to have a remote interview that way. But as I said, it is a rare occurrence.
I wonder if I might add something to this topic of interviews. I wanted to mention and really just repeat what we've been talking about. One of the requirements, one of the admissions requirements, as you know, is to complete this ACE screening session. And that's really a session that helps our faculty get a sense of a language proficiency as well as areas of interest. That is the very first step that we would ask that you would take as you are looking at submitting your application. And when we look at the application deadlines, please be aware, don't wait till the last minute to schedule your screening session with ACE. The deadline for requesting a screening session is March 21st, earlier than our deadline. Your full application is due to us at the end of March on March 31st. I realize that might sound a little bit confusing, so let me just simply repeat. You do need to request a screening session with ACE, and you need to do that before March 21st. And the reason is we find that sometimes students wait till the last minute and think they can schedule that screening session at the last minute, and then they find out all of the slots are filled. So please don't wait to the last minute. Please go ahead and do that first, regardless of your language proficiency. So here's another thing I did want to mention is that we do have a number of students, applicants who are US citizens or permanent residents. That's wonderful. We love that. Everyone is required to complete the ACE screening session because, again, it's not just for the language that we're listening, but we're also listening to responses to the questions.
Thank you, Ms. Mayotte. So the last question I'm seeing is, will GRE be reviewed if I choose to submit the score? And I can answer that. So since the GRE is not part of the application requirement for the ITGL program, the GRE score will not be reviewed. All right, it looks like there are no more questions on this slide. We have important contact information. Any admissions related questions, please reach out to my colleague Tanya McMillan. Here is her email address. In addition, any program related questions, Ms. Betsy Mayotte and Ms. Carol Herman, and their contact information is on the slide as well. And Dr. Weisenhoff, you want to speak a little bit on this slide as well?
Sure. In addition to the admissions website, ITGL has a cohort website that we maintain, and it's a wealth of information about the program. You'll see who our current students are, what their backgrounds are, what their interests are, as well as our alumni that have agreed to allow their presence be seen on the site. In addition, we have all of the courses listed. We have all the requirements. We have all of the steps that you need to do everything. It's a one-stop shop, one place to go to learn everything there is to know about the ITGL program. So if I can emphasize anything, after you get done with this, make sure that you bookmark that and go take a look at it and see what's on there. We continually add more information about the program there to try to ensure that all of our students and candidates know exactly what the program is. So please go to that website, and read through thoroughly. It'll answer any questions that you may have in the future.
All right, thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff. And I'll go back to this slide as well for the contact information. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Thank you, Dr. Weisenhoff and Ms. Mayotte for the wonderful presentation today. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to hearing from you.